Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of The Ticket Booth. I will be your host, Blake. It's kind of weird after recording like 3 videos with me saying I'll be your grim grinning host. So most of you guys might be here from the YouTube channel. And if so, welcome over here. It's going to be just as fun, but just a little forewarning. It's going to be a not like a sort of rated R type thing, but it's going to be a little bit more unfiltered over here, as it's just going to be me talking with whoever it is I'm talking to in various episodes, and we'll be covering more non-Disney movies as well, like horror movies and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll definitely be getting a little bit more grittier in this. So just a little forewarning about that. But yeah, it's very weird. I spent 3 videos saying I'm your grim grinning host, and now I'm just your host. And you're at the ticket booth, and you're here to talk about some movies, or at least listen to me talk about some movies. And speaking of movies, we just watched one. Mm-hmm. Which one was it? You want to go? You want to introduce that movie? What we just watched?
About me. Maybe introduce.
Oh, that's true. Maybe I shouldn't. Okay. I haven't done a podcast in a long time. I'm sitting here with my girlfriend, Caroline.
Hello.
Okay, so do you want to talk about what movie are we talking about today?
We're talking about The Karate Kid.
The original, not the one with Jaden Smith.
Yeah, the original.
So yeah, we were talking about The Karate Kid, and the reason we're talking about The Karate Kid is because, actually, what is it, season 5 of...
6, I think.
Is it 6?
I think so.
The newest season of Cobra Kai came out recently, and it came out the first 5 episodes, and they're splitting it up into 3 parts, and we've got to wait till November to get part 2. That's insane. That's insane. But we are big fans of Cobra Kai. Uh-huh. And we've never seen the original until about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I don't know why I've never seen it. I don't know why we never took the opportunity to actually watch it with the amount of movies that we watch.
Yeah.
So I thought with this podcast becoming a thing, why not? This is like the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, and I wanted to watch it before the finale.
Yeah.
Of this season.
Yeah, this is the final season of Cobra Kai, so it's about time we got around to this.
Yeah.
But I told Caroline, I was like, hey, the podcast thing is becoming a thing. So I was like, let's get some notebooks, let's write down our thoughts during the movie, and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So the first thing we wanted to kind of start out with is Caroline actually said that we should write down our thoughts, like our predictions. Before
or what we know about the movie, yeah.
Yeah, before we watch the movie. And I'll let you go first. What would you write before you watch the movie?
So because we watched Cobra Kai, they obviously have to talk about the movies a lot, and they do a lot of flashbacks. So we knew pretty much everything that happened. I wrote, we know that Daniel wins. We know that Johnny bullies him. This next thing I actually technically got wrong. I said, we know Johnny cheats, which isn't technically right.
Kinda, yeah. Also, maybe I should this is a little late, but this is spoilers. I with the YouTube channel, I mean, I feel like if you're coming in to watch a podcast about a movie, you should expect that there's gonna be spoilers.
I mean, people do spoiler-free like reviews, but this isn't that.
For forewarning for every podcast episode, these are not spoiler-free reviews, and I will be covering some newer movies. But anyway, sorry. Continue.
And then we knew that, like, Allie was what caused their beef, so...
It was a lot of stuff, actually. There's a lot of components that I thought. Kinda, yeah.
But, I mean, literally.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. There was a lot of components that kind of came together. But is there anything else you wrote? Or is that about it for your prediction?
All I said was that I love, like, feel-good sports movies. Like, there's literally a section in Disney Plus that's called Feel Good Sports.
Mighty Ducks.
And I've watched literally all of them. I don't know what it is. They're inspirational. They're fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like this, even though it's not a, like, conventional sport.
Yeah, it's not
like basketball or...
Yeah.
But I like that it's unique and it's a good nostalgia movie. So.
Yeah, and I mean, there's plenty of things to like about this movie. My prediction or my first thoughts. I said, having already known the plot, I was predicting that I might like Cobra Kai the show better since that's what I was introduced to, and that maybe I would be Team Johnny throughout this movie. So I guess
I thought about that.
really.
We'll get to that, but
Maybe keep listening to see if those opinions have changed. But I'm gonna just kick it off. We're gonna start with the beginning of the movie, and literally the first thing I wrote down was I was getting lots of nostalgia from the Columbia Pictures logo with the lady holding the torch.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in so long.
I know.
And I was like, oh my gosh, it brought me back to childhood there.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so we were, we start off, we get the Columbia Pictures logo, and we start off in Newark, New Jersey, and which is where Daniel and his mom are from.
You can tell.
Sometimes it gets a little hard whenever you're writing to kind of pay attention to every little detail.
Yeah.
Did they fully on explain why they were moving?
It was for work.
So they kind of saying
Because remember they were talking about, and she's like, "Oh, this job will cover everything."
Okay, so they did move, because I know that the Jaden Smith movie, they made it a lot more clear that it was for work.
Yeah, no, they kind of just moved.
Okay.
But it was for work.
Okay, so yeah, we start in Newark, New Jersey, and as we're watching this intro scene of it showing like the neighborhood and Daniel and his mom driving away,
The opening credits,
everybody walking, running and all that stuff. Caroline goes, she was like, "Wow, it's giving me feelings of Willy Wonka, the beginning of the original Willy Wonka."
They're like showing the town with the opening credits. I don't know, it had the same vibe.
That would have been a great movie to cover on the podcast. We should
maybe
watch all three of them.
Oh no,
not like a mega episode, but like oh my gosh!
I don't know if I can go through the Johnny Depp version again.
Really?
It was that really shows my opinion about the movie, because I have siblings, and that was the only movie, and we were like pretty far apart. So like when we were kids, that was the only movie we could all agree on watching, and we watched it over and over again. Like that was a big part of my childhood, and rewatching it, I'm okay. I'm okay.
I grew up with the original.
I did too, like occasionally, but I thought it was boring at parts. Not anymore after watching it recently, but as a kid, you want to get to the fun, colorful looking stuff.
Yeah. But
anyways.
So Daniel and his mom are moving from Newark, New Jersey to California, to Reseda, California. And oh my gosh. The one thing about this movie is their timing is like, it's like fast. Like they're going. Like there's like 1,000,000 miles per hour. It took them like 2 minutes to get from Newark, New Jersey to California. That's an insane drive. That's
oh my gosh,
coast to coast.
Yeah, and yeah. That's
I was just sitting
on the East Coast, so we know.
That's crazy.
That is wild. Can I throw out some of my points?
Yeah. If you want to interject, just interject. Yeah.
I was very vague with mine because I didn't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
All I said is that they show that they're like poor. They show them moving the car. So I was like, oh great, that's gonna be great for a new kid.
Yeah.
Especially moving to California where everyone's, especially in his, specific town, everybody's rich. But and then I just put dad ? They don't talk about his dad.
I thought about that too. They never brought up the dad.
Not even in the show. They talk about Johnny's dad. Yeah. Stepdad.
Yes, stepdad.
But they never mention where Daniel's dad is.
The parallels between this one, I mean, pretty much the Karate Kid Jaden Smith one is like almost a shot for shot, just in Japan remake. Like it literally is.
They probably wanted to honor it in that way.
There was like some line, like the exact. I will get to this later, but there were some lines that were the exact same.
Yeah, and I know certain shots and the pacing of it and certain points, because those are like integral to the story, I feel like. And if you're gonna remake a movie,
so they move. They take 2 minutes. They take a little 2-minute drive down to California from New Jersey. It's a little stroll.
Yeah.
The car, they have to like push it and shift it pop it into first or second gear to get it going, and so they finally get there, and we get our like kind of once they get there, we kind of get our first shot of old Danny boy
I
as a
know,
little young
he's so
lad.
cute. He's such a little.
But he looks the same. Like he looks
It is
older,
weird.
but it's like it. Ah, gosh.
He has the same little. He has a little bit of a baby face now.
Yeah, it's like looking at him in this movie is almost like looking at Harrison Ford in The Dial of Destiny. Like whenever they like do the deep fake sort of, or like Luke Skywalker, like in Mandalorian, how they aged him down.
Yeah.
CG, it like looking at him in this movie, that's what it feels like. I know it's literally him young. Feels like
yeah.
CGI.
Same with Kreese. Kreese really surprised me. I was like, dang.
And Johnny too.
Well, Johnny, I mean, we've seen clips, so I
Yeah.
wasn't that surprised. But Kreese, we don't really see a lot of his.
Yeah.
But something that I thought was funny was we had watched the remake of Karate Kid maybe like a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
before we even knew that you were going to do this podcast, and when Daniel goes to meet Mr. Miyagi for the first time to ask him to fix the faucet, I was like, this reminds me of another movie. This reminds me of like I was just thinking of Jane Smith. I forgot that it was literally a remake.
Mhm.
I just thought that was kind of funny. That I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think that Karate Kid, the Jane Smith version, did it funnier where he was like about to catch it and then he just slaps it with the fly swatter.
Yeah,
That's how he goes, oh, that's
did a
nasty.
little parody.
Yeah. So I was thinking as they're driving to California, they kept showing like this prominent shot of the bicycle on top. And thank God he actually rode it because I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I swear to God, if he doesn't ride that bike, it's
That's
like
the main
barely,
character.
it's like barely hanging on. I was like, geez.
That's the main character.
Yeah, so
The bike. This movie's actually about the bike.
he uses that a lot.
I mean, that bike goes through a lot.
I mean, the first thing Daniel does is hang what looks like a very heavy bag on the handle of it as he's, pulling, like he's like struggling to get the balance of the handle. So
that bike has been through more action than I have, probably.
that bike is a workhorse.
Yeah.
So they get there, they get to I didn't catch the name of the apartments, but it's the same apartments that Johnny ends up living in Cobra Kai.
Really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
No, now that I think about it, I think so.
Yeah, I'm like, I saw it and I was like, wow. I was like, wait, does Johnny live there? I was like, wait, no,
That's
his
really
stepdad's
ironic.
rich. So it's kind of crazy that, fast forward all those years.
They swapped places.
Unless that happens in maybe one of the sequels. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, we still have to watch. Because
we haven't seen the sequels. I think so.
Something I noticed is that kid, I forgot his name, but the kid.
I have him next. So he hangs the bag on the handle of the bicycle,
Yeah.
and he's pushing it up, and there's like this gate to get into their apartment complex,
Yeah.
and he kicks it open and just busts this kid in the mouth. And the kid, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry." The kid's like, "Hey, it's fine," and just pops up immediately.
I was gonna mention that they're literally talking so fast. Like the dialogue pacing in a lot of older movies is crazy.
Yeah, I didn't like.
But it's more accurate, I feel like.
In the
real life.
Yeah, like in the beginning of the movie, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this dialogue is insufferable." Like his mom, like no offense to the actress, I don't know if this was like what it was supposed to be like, but some of her dialogue was, I hated it. I hated her dialogue.
She's kind of supposed to be the embarrassing mom.
I mean, I don't even think it's just that. It's just some of her line delivery. Like it doesn't.
It was a lot, but she's also from New Jersey.
To me, it just feels like somebody trying to pretend to be a mom. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah. But anyway.
Their accents were strong.
Yeah.
Like, Ralph Macchio, is that his name?
Yeah, Ralph.
His accent now, like in Cobra Kai, is not that strong. But in this, it was like Ma.
Oh, yeah.
It was very...
So, yeah. So, Danny kicks this open, busts this kid in the face, and this kid stands up and almost immediately introduces himself as Freddy Fernandez. So, I literally wrote Freddy Fernandez with a bunch of question marks. I'm like, who the hell's this guy?
Yeah.
Just a random character.
He was like his first friend that he made there. You would
Friend.
think...
We're going to put quotes on that one.
Yeah, I don't know where he went halfway through the movie.
No, I do, because he's... Oh, my gosh, I have some words to share with Mr. Freddy Fernandez.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else to say about that whole interaction? I thought, speaking of dialogue, that one part, as they're getting settled and stuff like that, Daniel, after meeting Freddy, goes upstairs to his new apartment and he tries to turn on the faucet, and it like busts.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, "Oh, go find the handyman." So he goes downstairs, and there's this old lady who he had ran in before, who was like, saying, "Oh, I'm from New Jersey as
Yeah.
well." Then he asked her, and they have like the most realistic conversation I've ever seen. He's like, "Oh, where's the handyman at?" She's like, "Oh, it's down the hall to the take a left, then take a right, go inside and take another left." And he's like, "Okay, take a right and take a left." She's like, "No, go down the hall, take a right, go inside, then take a left." Like, it's like, I was like, that is a really realistic conversation. Like, that was kind of unnecessary for a movie, but I liked
I don't
it.
really know why she was there.
I guess she lived there, but like, I don't
Well, I
know.
know,
why
but
she
like
was-
for the movie, yeah.
Yeah, she was just kind of sitting at the bottom of the stairs with a dog looking at an empty pool.
Yeah.
Was she doing anything?
I think she was reading or doing some kind of. She was doing something like in her
I
lap.
don't know.
The other thing I really mentioned is like, because I think the next scene is him playing soccer.
Yeah, and I put that Daniel makes making friends look so easy.
I know. I literally was like, his life is literally going great right now.
It's like just 2 seconds.
Like, I mean, obviously I knew Johnny was gonna pop in at some point, but like I was like that was that was not the focus of this movie for like a new kid to struggle finding friends. He was fine.
Yeah,
he's a pro.
Well, I mean, he's a good-looking guy.
What does that have to do with making friends?
I don't know. I just feel like good-looking people make friends very easily.
Actually, that's true.
Yeah, no rebuttal there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there. He goes. He finds Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi is trying to catch the fly with the chopsticks, and then and then Daniel's like, "Hey, my faucet's broken," and Mr. Miyagi's like, "I'll fix it after." So that's the first time we see Mr. Miyagi. So Daniel then goes out. Freddie Fernandez had previously asked him, was like, "Hey, there's like a little shindig going on. You should come
down
out
at the beach."
Down at the beach.
Oh, I guess everyone's hangout place. Yeah, because now thinking about Cobra Kai, that's where they all hang out too. Well, it is California.
They hang out at the beach?
Remember they had that party where they...
Yeah, but that was like at a pond, I thought.
No, that was at the beach, I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure? I feel like it was a pond. I'd have to go back and rewatch that.
I'm pretty sure it's the beach. They're in California.
Well, I'll have to go back. But, yeah, so Daniel goes to hang out with Freddie and his friends. And I don't know if you noticed this. So I wrote this down. It was literally like the smallest little thing. So they're playing soccer. And at one point, I think it was Daniel that like kicked it or he popped it off of his knee and it just smacked this kid in the face. Kid got nailed in the face.
I didn't see that.
I was like, wow, that was pretty funny. So they're all hanging out.
That's how you make friends, apparently.
Yeah.
You just hit a bunch of kids in the face.
The thing is, he hit him in the face and the kid just still is like, nice one, Daniel.
The amount of times he's hit people in the face in this movie.
Yeah, he hits, like, a lot of people just get absolutely thwopped.
Both in and out of karate.
Yeah. So they're all hanging out, and then there's this mysterious girl. She's the mysterious.
She's not that mysterious.
Girl. She's not that mysterious. No, they make it fairly obvious. Hey, this is a love interest. But Daniel's being. I don't know the correct word. I don't want to say he's being shy because he's not really. He's very charismatic. He's very charismatic, but he doesn't want to go over there quite yet. He's kind of like. I don't know if he's just showing off and trying to play it cool, but he's like, she's not looking at me. And Freddie's like, yo, she's looking at you.
She's literally staring. Like
they were literally staring at each other so hard. Like they were like, I'm staring at Caroline right now.
Imagine
really
if
hard.
Cobra Kai was just her and him. I don't know what happens in the second and third Karate Kid, but
well, they kind of explained it in Cobra Kai. She comes back.
Yeah, but she's with someone else and stuff. I mean, like, imagine if Daniel had married Allie.
That would be... I don't know.
It's funny because the girls that Daniel and Johnny both, like, get with... Well, not get with. Johnny gets with someone, but, like, the two women that they, end up falling in love with are just not anything like Allie.
Yeah, no, not at all. So, they're all hanging out. They're... And Daniel and the love interest, Allie, keep staring at each other, and eventually Freddie, I think it was Freddie or one of the other kids that kicked the ball over to, Allie's group.
Yeah, it was Freddie.
So,
he literally, it knocked over her radio, into the fire.
So Daniel walks over. They kind of meet halfway in between the two groups, and Daniel's just immediately just with the moves, like, "Hey, let me show you how to bounce this ball off your knees." It's pretty cool. And then
She
she basically
stood right up.
yeah, and she's like, "Hey, how do you do that?" And he's like, "Oh, you do it like this." So as they're doing that,
Fingers.
yeah, as they're doing that, we finally see the man, the myth, the legend, the Johnny Lawrence,
Johnny
and
Lawrence.
his red leather jacket.
Oh
with
my
the
gosh, that's kind of iconic.
and he's always got on his freaking
bandana.
except for when they're at school.
Is there an official name for that? Like,
I thought it was just a bandana. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I think so, but I don't know if there's like a name.
Maybe. But I literally, as soon as I saw him, I wrote in the notebook, I just put Johnny, all caps, underlined, and like 4 exclamation points. I was excited. I love
like
Johnny.
his jacket.
I do too.
And the motorcycle. I mean, I don't know how
the fashion in this movie is outdated, but it's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
There's only a few outfits I was like,
His mom.
And I'm a diva when it comes to fashion.
You are. More than me. Like, I'm not that picky. He takes longer to get ready than I do.
That's not true.
Yes, it literally is true.
Not really. I know what I like. I know what I want.
You literally change outfits all the time. It actually depends on what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, if we're going to go see people that he cares about his appearance more so, then he'll, like, change outfits. He's like, that's not right.
Well, like, if I'm just going to go hang out at my friend's house, I don't really care. Like, I'll just throw on, like, a t-shirt and something. But, like, if I'm going to go out, like, if we're going to go eat at a restaurant, we're going to go do something, of course. Got to look nice, you know?
Yeah.
I don't care about people looking at me, but I like to look nice whenever I go out.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you're a bit more high maintenance than I am.
Okay. Whatever. So Johnny so Johnny rides in
with his aggressive friends.
Yeah, we'll get to that later because I wrote some.
That was really overwhelming.
So they're riding dirt bikes and they look down this like embankment and they see Johnny and Allie, or not Johnny and Allie, Daniel and Allie having fun, you know, and Johnny's just like, fun, not on my watch. And then he drives down.
They literally like fell on top of each other as he saw them.
Yeah, that was a very forced fall. She was like, oh. Like fell on him.
She like breaks his arm.
So Johnny and his friends ride down there. All right, that's another thing I thought that was weird. As they drive down there and we cut back to Daniel and Allie, she like takes the ball and kicks it away and then goes, I'm sorry.
I think she did it on purpose because I think she saw Johnny approaching.
Really?
It looked like, when I first saw it, I was like, literally, what the heck? Because she, like, looks mad, kind of, when she kicks it. And I think she did it on purpose to kind of get him.
Maybe. I didn't look that far into it. I was just like, wow. Because he's going to come back. Like, it takes 2 seconds to go get the ball.
Maybe she thought he could wave him off. I don't know.
Maybe you're right. So
that's what I interpreted it as.
Yeah. So she kicks the ball. Daniel walks away to go get it, and as he's over there trying to get the ball, he turns back around, and Johnny's just keeps saying, "Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk." Because
getting up in her business.
It's revealed here that Allie is Johnny's ex-girlfriend. Dun dun dun. So he's like kind of being very aggressive, like, "Let's talk," and then she like. He turns off the radio. She turns it back on. He turns it off and yanks it up. And then he, like, throws it down. And at that point, Daniel comes back and picks it up and is like, hey, man, what's the problem? And
no, he's like, she's like, give me back my radio. And he's like, if I do you promise we'll talk? And she's like, yeah. She picks it up and then she turns it on. And that's when he...
So in this specific moment, not the whole movie, in this specific moment, Johnny was antagonized. I'm sorry. That's true. He
broke her radio.
Obviously not. She turned it back on.
No, she turned it on, then he broke it.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, now I'm getting confused.
So, okay, I remember what you're talking about. They're turning it on and off. He throws it down. She's like, give me back my radio, Johnny. And he was like, do you promise to talk to me? And she says, yeah. She picks it up, turns it on, and then he breaks it.
Dang.
Yeah, he's a little... You know,
it's really hard.
Bad word.
It's different. He's so different in Cobra Kai. It's really hard to see him as the
He is the villain.
I get it. I'm sorry.
Well, kind of.
it's a matter of circumstance, I feel.
It is. We can talk about that a little bit, but in this moment, that was his
Breaking
choice.
the radio was wrong.
It like everything else, all his other actions can be blamed on someone else, pretty much. But in this moment, he chose to do that.
Yeah.
And like is forcing her to do something she doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want to talk, and he's like, I gotta do it because now there's this competition.
I'll say this. So they start fighting. Daniel and Johnny, they start fighting, and as they're fighting, Freddie and his friends are in the back going like, "Oh, get him!" And I'm like, "Bro, you got Daniel to go over there and talk to him." And there's no possible way. Okay, I think they all go to the same school because we see them at the same school.
Yeah.
So Freddie and his friends obviously know who Allie is. I'm assuming Johnny's popular because it looks like he is.
Yeah.
And people who go to school, anybody who's ever went to high school knows that if you're popular and you're dating, everybody knows that you're dating. Like everybody knows.
Yeah, it's a hot topic.
There's absolutely no way Freddie did not know that Allie was Johnny's ex-girlfriend. So he got him into this mess.
Maybe that's the point. And that was the subplot of the movie. He
Freddie's the real villain.
He set up Daniel for failure.
You heard it here, folks. Freddie Fernandez is.
But then, if it wasn't for Freddie, Daniel would have never done karate.
I mean, I guess, like happy accidents. But what in this specific moment, Daniel is getting his butt kicked by Johnny, and Freddie's just over there like, you got him into this.
Are you sure that he went to the same school? Did we ever see Freddie at the school?
Yeah, because I'll get to that. I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it now. Remember, he goes shortly after this. He's on the soccer field and he sees Freddie and he goes like, "Hey guys," and they're all making fun of his black eye and stuff, and they run away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but during this fight on the beach, I was like, "Freddie, you got him into this mess and you can't even back him up." And then they all leave Daniel just on the beach by himself.
Yeah, that's true. They don't,
including Allie.
Well, Allie wanted to stay. Her friend made him leave. He told her to leave.
But the thing that we've learned about Allie in this movie, throughout this movie, is that she's a very independent person.
I actually was analyzing the scene very closely, to see how much she was actually resisting. When she goes down and he's like, "I'm fine." Also, she just met this boy. She's not gonna push it with someone she doesn't really know. He's like, "I'm fine, just leave me alone." And he's probably not wanting to get embarrassed in front of her or whatever. And she's like, she's staying, and then her friend's like, "We gotta go, just leave him alone." And she's literally, her friend's pulling her back, and she's literally resisting her. And again, she doesn't know this boy. She doesn't want to push anything.
I guess. But I still, Freddie annoyed me, and I didn't like him.
Freddie. The only thing I wrote for this scene was great guy. Because Johnny's just such a great guy.
Oh, that can be said about a lot of the guys.
I know, but that radio incident really made me mad.
Yeah. But, so yeah, like I said, they go to school.
Mm-hmm.
They Daniel and Freddie have that little run-in on the soccer field. Daniel is now talking to Allie again. They're being cordial and, joking and laughing, and she shows him that she learned how to do the soccer trick with him.
I thought she was going to, surprise him, and she actually was, a pro.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too. I was like, wow. But Johnny sees this, and they kind of, him and his friends all get together, and this is actually soccer tryouts. I didn't realize that at first.
I didn't either.
I thought this was just high school recess.
Or gym class.
Maybe gym class would have made more sense, but high school recess sounds funnier. So yeah, they're all out there, and as they, I guess it's a scrimmage of some sort to see who's good to be on the team.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, one of Johnny's friends sweeps Daniel's legs out from under him, and Daniel gives him a solid right hook, a right hook so hard that his whole entire body flung forward.
He probably didn't want to get beat up like he did literally the night before.
Yeah.
For this scene, I wrote, "How can you bully with those shorts? Those shorts that Johnny was wearing."
Everybody was wearing those.
I know, but on Johnny specifically, it looked short.
To us now, we can say that, but back then, that was all the rave, probably. That was oh my God, he's so hot. No, I'm saying that's probably what people were saying back then. Like, like if they could be wearing a Speedo, it's like the shorter the shorts, everybody's like, oh my God, I need him in my life, ruin my life.
That took me a second to process.
Hey, Johnny is a good looking guy.
Yeah, but do you know how old the actors were?
I think Ralph was like 30. No, I swear.
There's no way.
I swear. I think I heard somewhere that he was like, he looked, if he wasn't 30 in this movie, I know that when he was like 30 something, he looked the exact same. I saw like
I doubt he's 30 in that movie.
I wish.
How old is he now?
I don't know.
We looked this up.
60 something?
When did this movie come out? Did we look at that?
No.
Okay, let's assume 80s somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it is 80s. Remember that little quote at the end? Like, I don't know how to drive. It's the 80s.
Well, yeah, but sometimes movies take place in a different time period than when they're released.
Yeah, but it's like, this is...
Okay, it's an 80s movie.
Okay, yeah.
So, assuming that's 40 years ago. So then at this point, he's probably like 20-something. At most.
Late 20s, I'm going to say. He's not a high schooler. In real life,
he
looks
looks like a little boy.
Yeah, but that is just amazing genetics. Like, he got the gifts of God when it comes to aging.
Yeah,
everybody says Paul Rudd. I'm talking Ralph Macchio. Ralph Macchio, I think... Yeah.
Anyways, where were we? The shorts.
I just
thought they looked funny, and I was like, literally, how can you bully this kid wearing that outfit right now?
I said that the obsession with Johnny, the obsession Johnny has with Daniel over the smallest little interaction.
He's probably like insecure. Like, oh, now I have competition, even though he's not dating her anymore.
It's just an obsession, bro. But I guess.
Well, also again, think about how messed up his life is. He has Kreese to deal with, his stepdad, and then Allie was probably like the light in his life, and now they're broken up.
I mean, but speaking of his stepdad, we don't even know about his stepdad in this movie. We only know that because of the show.
Okay, but in terms of character...
Yeah, I know, I'm saying.
Just Kreese alone is...
Well, I'm also just clarifying for people who may not have seen this movie that we keep mentioning his stepdad. His stepdad is like this really rich guy, but you don't know it in this movie. Yeah. I don't know if you know it in the sequels, because like we said, we haven't seen them, but we do know...
I think so, because I think I remember them doing flashbacks in Cobra Kai.
Maybe. So, yeah, this whole soccer thing goes down, and next we're in the, we go back, and he's at lunch.
With his mom.
No, I'm talking about literally at school lunch. With Allie, and I wrote this down, and then I crossed it out, because I didn't think I was going to say it on the podcast, but I want to say it. I think it's kind of crazy. Even though I know it's like actually still a thing, I think it's kind of crazy that you have to pay for lunch when you're legally obligated to go to school.
Well, you can bring lunch.
I mean, yeah. I actually didn't think about that. I forgot about that. I forgot you were allowed to bring.
You have food that you can bring.
That's true.
That's allowed.
Oh gosh, I kind of forgot you could do. Because I've always,
it's been a while.
In some of my schools, like I know you could bring lunch. But, I always thought about, like, you can't bring food into a classroom and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't allowed to eat food in class.
Well, you can't eat the cafeteria food in class either.
No, that's what I'm saying. So whenever I was thinking about that statement, I was like, you can't bring food to school. Because I was thinking you can't eat food in a classroom. So I just had a brain fart moment. So carry on. They're eating lunch. And then it cuts from them eating lunch, which he's all the moves. Another thing, milk is very prominent in this movie, apparently, because he asks her if she wants some milk. He's basically loading her lunch.
He's drinking milk later.
Yes, I wrote that down. So later, it cuts to them. I guess it's dinner. Time, and I think she's like at her new job or something. It's like a restaurant because there's somebody.
No, I think they were meeting up for a meal before she went. I don't know.
She was there. Daniel's mom was there for something, and they're eating at this place that's across the street from the Cobra Kai dojo. And Daniel sees it, doesn't know that Johnny's in the class, so he goes in to see what it's like, and it's kind of intense. And he sees Johnny, and
Johnny smirks at him.
And Johnny smirks, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, that boy from the beach." I hope you saw my long shorts today, or my short shorts today, not my long shorts. Those are that's the 2000s movie. I hope you see my long shorts.
The jorts.
Oh my god! Remember when people used to wear jean shorts that like went down mid thigh or
Like boys, and they would wear like some striped T-shirt with it.
I was thinking more so like the jean shorts that went down like mid calf, and like I'm talking about men who would wear like the like tank top where the things would be cut out under their armpit all the way down their rib cage.
Oh, I was thinking of like boys that would wear like striped T-shirts, those jorts, and then a bowl haircut. That was
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
Well,
Fred kind of.
I'm from the South, so I was thinking more redneck.
Oh yeah, I don't know what you're really talking.
Yeah, no. So yeah, he goes.
More refined.
Oh yeah, you got
Culture.
a refined taste of living.
Okay.
I grew up on cosmic brownies and honey buns. You're over here eating celery and ranch. I don't know. I don't know.
Is that what reach?
Reach?
Is that? Well, I wasn't rich. I don't know. Is that what people up north eat?
I guess.
Yeah.
You heard it here.
I had the Swiss rolls. Those
you
were
didn't hear? New Yorkers really like that. Celery and ranch is your favorite thing.
It's all the rage.
Yeah, no. So he goes in, Johnny sees him, and then Daniel sees him and is like, screw this class. So he goes back to his mom, and his mom is just first off, it's been how long? Like literally like a day or two, and she's like, what about girls? It's like, homie just got here.
He's like, all the girls here are blonde.
So
she's like obsessed.
he starts. She gets out of him. She's like, oh, is there this girl? And he's like, yeah, there's just one girl. She's cute. And then she's like, oh, let's go. And then she
literally leaves
away for this little business meeting, and he's still eating. He's drinking milk as he's eating broccoli. So maybe, I mean, New Jersey is up north, so maybe I wasn't so far. Celery and ranch versus broccoli and milk. Did you notice that?
Yeah, he was eating, and he like, who was he talking to?
He was just started going off. He just started going off on his own, like, oh yeah, she's hot. She was like, he's like, you're going, she's hot.
Speaking of that scene, I really liked the way that she.
I'm sorry.
I really liked the way that scene was shot. Because they're literally talking, and you see Johnny. I didn't even notice this at first. So I don't know how long they were out there before I noticed, but you see them walk out, Johnny and his friends, and they're like roughhousing or whatever. And then one of his friends like walks up to the restaurant, sees Daniel, and sprints back to his friends. And then of course they leave, like they turn the corner as soon as Daniel looks out the window.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, that was the cinematography in this movie is great.
It is, yeah.
But
that's all I wrote about that scene, was I just liked the way
they confused me. So like they went around the corner, and then they came back, and then they huddled up, and then they went back around.
I don't know what they were talking about.
Oh, I know what they were talking about what they were gonna do later. They waited. They were waiting. Remember, he was riding his bike home. They were waiting, and that's what I wrote next. After
wait, before we do that, you were talking about milk in the cafeteria. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I was talking about milk because he kept talking about milk in the cafeteria, and then next thing you know, he's drinking milk at dinner. He had a glass of milk and a glass of water.
Yeah.
Did he need a chaser for his milk?
You need to wash. I mean, milk's thick.
What milk are you? Honey, I think you need to check the expiration date on that milk. No. Oh my god!
I mean, like,
I just bought some.
No. I mean, like, milk. Like, it has sometimes, depending on what kind, it has like a coating in your mouth. I'm sure he wanted some. Stop looking at me like that. Okay? No, I'm
Next
done.
time, go to the fridge for milk. The ones I throw in the trash can aren't any good anymore.
Oh my gosh!
I get what you're talking about.
At one time I drank expired milk.
Oh yeah, that was gross.
Can I do a quick little short story?
Yeah, go ahead.
We were in Tennessee on vacation, and we were staying at a hotel with free breakfast, and I grabbed
That was on the way back.
Oh, that was in. Okay.
Yeah, because we got back here late.
No, because it was that morning.
Yeah, so remember we came back for this. We were still long distance, and you had to drive back, to your state that morning. But it was late when we got back to North Carolina. So you guys got a hotel, and I just stayed with you guys because your dad was like, I'm not gonna tear you guys apart the day before you guys are leaving.
Okay, yeah, I remember what you're talking about. But anyways, I grabbed a milk carton out of a little mini fridge in the breakfast area. I didn't think to look at it because why would I? I just assumed that they would know what they're putting out. And I open it and I just chug chunks
Ugh.
of milk with like the liquid part like in it still as well. And it tasted so bad and like I literally felt sick the rest of the day. And I should have sued them.
God.
I'm kidding, but like seriously, how does the staff not check if the milk and yogurt is? I like it was literally one of the worst experiences of my life.
Ugh. That's happened to me a couple times, but
That was the first time I've done that.
yeah, no, it's never.
Because it wasn't like I just thought, why would it be expired?
I understand.
Anyways, I want to move on from this story.
So yeah, after he leaves his little dinner with his mom, he's riding his bike back to his apartment complex. It's nighttime now, and he hears the dirt bikes behind him, and Johnny's friends are yelling out after him, and they like come up and like push him like off
the hill,
like a very steep hill, and Johnny's like, or not Johnny, Daniel's just tumbling down this thing. His bike destroyed.
You love a stunt man.
And I said waiting hours until dark just to follow Daniel is insane.
Yeah, like what do they do the whole time? Just sit on their bikes and we're like, yeah.
I mean, that seems like their favorite pastime is just standing out in the open, pushing each other and screaming.
What else are they gonna do? Homework? Ew.
Ugh, gross. So he picks up his bike and his mom. It cuts to his mom. His mom pulls into their apartment complex, and as she gets out of her car, Daniel's walking like back there with his bike in hands, and he starts like throwing his bike against the dumpster, trying to throw it inside, screaming. And I put, "What'd the bike do?"
That bike's been through a lot.
You put it through hell.
Yeah, it rolled down the hill too. I hope you know that, Daniel.
Yeah. So Daniel's getting all upset, and his mom's like, "What can I do? What can I do?" And he's like, at this point, he's saying that he fell, right? He keeps saying he fell, or did he mention why he got hurt at this point?
Trying to think.
He's hurt.
We know that the black guy he told his mom was from the bike.
Yeah.
And then at this point, she's like, "Bro, this is not the bike."
Yeah. So he's getting upset, and he's saying he wants to go back home, and she's like,
But the palm trees.
Yeah, but the palm trees. And he's like, screw your palm trees. But he starts getting upset, and he's like banging, kicking walls and stuff like that. And then
Miyagi's like asleep.
They finally like walk away. Oh, and he mentions, he goes, I need to learn karate. Like that's what he says. And he says out loud like, oh, I need to learn karate. That's what I need to do. And then they both walk inside of their apartment complex and back into their apartment. And Mr. Miyagi.
He pulls like a creature from Universal. He pokes his head out and
he comes out of this door right beside the wall that Daniel was just beating. And I think it's funny that Daniel was practically beating on Mr. Miyagi's walls in the middle of the night. Like imagine Miyagi's just asleep and then hears like dum, 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 I need to learn karate, dum, dum, and then walks away. And he's like, he comes out and he's like, what the hell?
I don't care about your palm trees.
So it cuts to the next day. He's going back to school, and I think right. Does he go back to school at this point?
What do you mean?
I'm blanking on what happens next. No, it cuts to does it? Gosh, it is.
Isn't this a Halloween scene?
I want to, but then I remember directly after that little Halloween scene, like Mr. Mia. No. He goes to school, and he sees Allie, and it's daytime, and then they're talking, but then they see Johnny, and then Daniel turns around and is like, oh, I'm going to go this way. And that's when he kind of snaps at her.
Yeah. Oh, I wrote that here. I said pick your battles, because Johnny's just not.
Yeah, she's trying to like get him to kind of face it.
She's not the one getting beat. Like she doesn't. she's not scared of Johnny. She's like, come on, we just gotta face him head on.
Yeah,
Daniel's like, okay, have fun.
Yeah, and then he walks away. He's like, "Get off my case." So then it cuts to that night.
Yeah, the Halloween. Yeah, because she
No, not yet. He comes back home at night,
Oh,
and then he's going upstairs, and his bike is there. Mr. Miyagi had taken it and fixed it.
yeah, fixed it.
So he goes to
In the
Mr.
bonsai tree.
Yeah.
Bonsai!
He goes back to Mr. Miyagi, and he's like, "Oh, did you fix my bike? Thank you." And Mr. Miyagi's in this little apartment, like office area, and he's like snipping the
Bonsai trees.
the bonsai trees.
The baby trees.
He teaches Daniel how to, cut bonsai and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wrote father. I think I meant that Miyagi is definitely a father figure to him.
Yeah.
And then I said calming within the chaos, like he's teaching him to, like, visualize and relax. Because, I mean, moving is hard. And to have all these new friends, a new girl, basically, a new enemy.
But he doesn't even have friends. Freddy's not his friend. Freddy's gone.
Yeah, they disappeared. But anyways, like, to have that, like, person to help you center was important for him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so they do the little bonsai tree thing, and
Baby
then
tree.
it cuts to the school is getting ready for their, like,
Oh, and he's
Halloween
avoiding
dance.
Allie, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like blowing up these orange balloons, and then you see John in the background like playing with like skeleton feet, and I was like, every time that we see Johnny, he's doing the most random things.
They probably wanted to make it seem like, oh, just make it seem natural, like you're just talking with your boys.
Yeah, they're either pushing each other, he's either
smiling at something.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes the contrast between the movie Johnny and the show Johnny, like show Johnny's like very intense. And like he says some of the funniest things, like he's still stuck in high school. But there was one point, it was back after whenever Daniel, I think it was Daniel's first day of school, and he's walking past Johnny, and he's like standing there with his friends, and he like looks over to like read a book or whatever. I'm like, Johnny wouldn't do that. Johnny doesn't read books. Just I feel like I can picture Johnny saying something
like slapping it out of their
Yeah.
hand.
It just didn't feel like Johnny, but hey, this is the original, so what am I to say?
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Poser.
every time that we see him, he's always doing something. In this scene, he was throwing like a skeleton foot, and he kept messing with its leg and stuff like that. But they Mr. Miyagi later is, like, Happy Halloween, do you got any plans? And he's like, no, I'm not. He's like, oh, what about that dance? He's like, I'm not going unless I was the Invisible Man. And Mr. Miyagi's like, I got an idea. So he builds Daniel this Halloween costume where it's just a shower curtain, like a shower.
Like a circular shower.
Yeah, it's like a curtain all around it. It looks like the shower head's putting
There's
out
like
water.
streamers that look like they're reflective.
And Allie sees him.
That's my Daniel.
Yeah, sees a curtain. She doesn't see Daniel. She goes, oh, there he is. And her friends are like, how do you know? She goes, I just know.
There's my
I'm like,
man.
what part of this makes
He
you
just
feel
loves.
this way?
like when they cut to the scene and you just see the shower in the middle of the dance floor, it didn't click for me at first that it was Daniel. I was like, oh, that's cool. Who's a shower?
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, wow, a shower costume, that's kind of funny. And then it just lingered on him a little bit longer. I was like, oh wait, that's Daniel. So Allie walks over.
They have a little scene.
Yeah, Allie walks over and she like puts this little flower inside of the curtain, and then she walks inside. He closes the curtains. They have like a little intense moment. And I said, I'm not sure how much time has passed, like since he's moved here, but it feels like it's only been like maybe 3 days, like less than a week.
He probably moved for the new school year, and now it's Halloween, so.
Yeah, it's been, but it feels like it's been like 2 days.
Yeah.
And if it has been, Daniel and Allie are wasting no time because that was some tension. That was some tension in that shower. Yeah, so they're sitting there, they're talking about Johnny and how they wish that he would get his karma. And lo and behold, Daniel goes to the bathroom and he finds out that Johnny is sitting in a stall, and for some reason,
what is he? Oh, he was
rolling up a joint.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there's a hose attached to a sink. I don't know why. But it just was?
Was it a locker room? Like, I don't know.
No, I thought it was a bathroom.
I mean, yeah, but a bathroom, locker room.
Either way, a hose just attached to a sink, and Miguel, oh my God! See, because
Yeah, 'cause
Cobra
they're
Kai,
dressed like-
Cobra Kai kind of does like their own rendition of this. So I
Johnny
was thinking
has them dressed up as.
yeah. So Daniel, takes the hose and like puts it above the stall that Johnny's in, and then turns on the sink so Johnny gets soaked.
He probably should have taken the shower costume off before he ran.
Yeah, so he starts running and he runs past Allie, and she's like, "What's going on?" He goes, he's getting what's coming to him or something like that.
Yeah.
And as Johnny runs past, she trips him. So Allie for the win.
That was funny, yeah. And I don't think he realized it was her that did it because he was so focused.
Yes, he was really focused, and they run outside, and Daniel runs into the street and causes like a 5-car pile,
like literally
hundreds of dollars in damages.
Literally 2 cars, like that was some like they crash.
Yeah, like they're like, I mean, it's minor damages.
I mean, it's not like some fender bender. It's a bit. It's a.
Nobody was hurt. It was.
I know, but it was a bit of damage. Like he.
Wallets have been hurt. Wallets were definitely.
Like imagine explaining that. Like, oh, who was at fault? This boy.
The shower. They call their insurance. So what caused the accident? The shower ran in the middle of the road.
The shower boy.
And why was it running? Skeletons were chasing it.
Is your shower running? Yes. Yes.
Yes, it is. Because it's being chased by skeletons.
Better go catch it.
So Daniel runs all the way back to his apartment complex, but
well,
it's
actually,
like,
I had a note for this scene before
what?
we move on. I said Johnny is scary, but his voice. I don't know why, but his voice to me in this movie is just like the least intimidating thing you could hear.
Yeah.
Like compared to like adult, like what's his name? William?
Yeah, it's kind of William.
Like I don't know if he was just about to hit puberty or something in this movie, but like it was crackly, it was really high, and I was like, if I heard that like threatening me, I don't think I'd be intimidated at all. I just thought it was funny that he was like, he looked really scary and he was like about to beat him up and he was all intense, and then he's like, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah. So he gets to his apartment complex, and the gate is locked, and he starts getting beat on by Johnny and his friends. And you see like this shot of Mr. Miyagi climbing on the fence. And I was like in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, Spider-Man coming to the rescue. And Mr.
That's
Miyagi,
what he said.
Yeah, I know. That's the crazy part. Mr. Miyagi like swoops down, like beats them all up, and then
Swift.
Daniel like passes out, and he wakes up in Mr. Miyagi's little office thing again, and he's like, "Where's Spider-Man?"
Where's Spider-Man?
Mr. Miyagi was like, "No, it's me. I know I'm old, but I did it." So Daniel, they're talking. Daniel's like, "I want to learn karate because I want to get revenge," and Mr. Miyagi's like, "That's not the right way. It's all about." It's defense. It's not for revenge, and you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And Daniel, even though he's the protagonist and he's the good guy, he is not a saint. Homie is a manipulator. Homie threw a little tantrum and started being a little whiny and was like, all right, fine, don't ever help me again, you freaking...
No, he whined because Mr. Miyagi was talking about, there's not a bad student, there's a bad teacher, and he's like, well, let's go talk to him. And he said, no, you must do this on your own. That's when he freaked out.
Yeah, but, I mean, if an adult tells you they're not going to do something, you can't just be like, well, screw you.
I think he figured he's just scared to go in there and get his...
I mean, I guess that's true, but still, I think that he was kind of a manipulator. And he wants.
Well, so are kids in general. Like, have you ever thrown a tantrum to get something?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. That's not out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
But it is prominent in this movie. It happens multiple times, especially with Allie.
I think for the most part, he's pretty receptive to Mr. Miyagi. Like, he's a good kid.
Yeah. So
also, something I wanted to point out was a parallel that I noticed with Cobra Kai. I know this isn't about Cobra Kai, but Johnny, like, literally is... I mean, obviously this was on purpose. And it's probably, like, really obvious if you've watched the movie and then watched the show, but I wanted to point out that Johnny, like, literally is the Miyagi of Cobra Kai. He sees this kid getting bullied, beats a bunch of kids up,
Oh, yeah.
and then teaches him karate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that was the point. But I just thought it was interesting that Johnny doesn't even know. Like, at that point, before they, like, reconnect, Johnny doesn't know how Daniel started karate.
Yeah.
So I just think it's interesting that those are parallels in their lives.
Yeah. So, anyways, next, so Mr. Miyagi finally gives sense, like, yes, we'll go talk to Johnny's teacher, to the Cobra Kai sensei. And when they get there, Kreese is just like, oh, yeah? You think that it's bad that my 5 students are beating up on your 1 kid? Not really. That's pretty dope, and I'm proud of it. Not word for word, but pretty much he's like, that's freaking awesome, and they'll keep doing it until you do something to do it. Because if he can't handle himself, then he'll never handle the real world.
Yeah, Kreese is
Unhinged. That's something
I think that's an understatement.
That's something I used a lot in my
something I mentioned is we don't know where Daniel's dad is. We know that Johnny's stepdad is not great. And I think it really shows what happens depending on what kind of father figure people have in their lives. Because Kreese obviously produced what he produced. And then Mr. Miyagi. Not that I don't think Daniel was struggling that way, but to have a good influence.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny that Kreese is wearing black and red, just to symbolize that he's...
Yeah. So
bad.
they're talking, and Mr. Miyagi and Kreese kind of come to an understanding that these kids need to fight, but they're not going to do it inside of Kreese's dojo. It's not going to be out on the street. They're going to do it at the All Valley tournament.
With supervisors.
Yes, supervised tournament. So now Mr. Miyagi is going to train Daniel in the art of karate. And we move from that scene to Daniel goes to Allie's house with his mom and is like taking Allie out on a date, and we see that her parents aren't too fond of Daniel because he lives in Reseda, not Encino. Encino being
he's poor, honey.
Yeah.
You
can't associate with the poor people. We eat lettuce and ranch.
Yeah.
So they go out to this little arcade, go-kart, mini golf, and stuff like that.
So fun.
It did look so fun, and the parallels between Daniel and Allie to Miguel and Sam.
Sam, yeah. Oh. I literally wrote that. I wrote Daniel's daughter had like the same experience.
Yeah.
It's probably the same place.
Yeah, Daniel is like really good at taking people on dates. Even if it's really embarrassing though too, because his mom's car broke down while they were leaving her house, and that had to have been embarrassing.
Yeah.
But he takes on this fantastic date, and as they're leaving, Johnny pulls up in a really nice car. I really liked that car. It was a really nice car.
Which one?
The red one. Remember when they were leaving, Johnny like pulled up with his friends?
Oh yeah. There was a couple points that we missed before we get to the date though. First thing I wrote is I just think it's crazy that Kreese thinks literally everything and everyone is the enemy.
Oh yeah.
Because he mentioned that before. Also, did Daniel build in Cobra Kai? Did Daniel build his house off of the dojo?
No.
Because that's the dojo.
Yeah.
There's a whole... He has that nice of a house, Mr. Miyagi.
What are you talking about?
In Cobra Kai, they have...
Yeah.
That's attached to their house.
No, it's not.
You're sure?
I'm sure.
Sure?
Because we see that... we see the little parking lot that he has. Remember he teaches Robbie wax on, wax off? In that parking lot with the cars?
I thought it was like in the back of their house.
Remember, because the back of the house, at their house, has the pool where there was about to be a fight between Johnny and... it's a separate location.
Well then, because remember there was a scene with, what's his name? The guy that they're living with right now.
Chosen?
Literally Amanda's like, do you want lemonade? And he's like, sure. And she walks inside and she comes out with lemonade.
It's still a house. It's like a little...
Yeah,
it's still like that's Mr. Miyagi's house. That's where he lives. He doesn't live in his little office space.
I know,
So that's why
but it's also the dojo. I thought they literally built their house off of it.
no.
Okay.
Anyways,
Sorry. Also,
we are an hour in, so
Okay.
I'm gonna have to speed this up.
Also, something else about this state. Johnny is like literally everywhere. Like anytime Daniel's out,
Oh, yeah.
Johnny shows up.
Yeah,
I just thought
he
that was
pulls up in his very nice car.
or his dirt bike.
Yeah, so he pulls up and he's like, "Come on, Allie, get in, and you can bring your little boy toy too, I guess." And anyway, she says no, but Daniel throws a little tantrum. He's like, "Oh, you could have won if you wanted." Like he's insecure.
That was annoying.
And I was just like, "Come on, Daniel."
Like obviously he knows that she doesn't like Johnny, so I don't know why he's like
he's making assumptions about the way that she feels, and that's something else. But they get back in his mom's car. He's embarrassed, and he goes back to Mr. Miyagi at the dojo. And Mr. Miyagi is trying to do the chopsticks, trying to catch the fly with the chopsticks. And Daniel sits down. He's like, "Oh, can I try?" And Mr. Miyagi said, "If you wish." But I didn't hear if at first. I thought he just said "you wish," and I was like, "Oh," that's why I laughed at that point.
Oh.
But anyway, so Daniel starts doing it, and then he catches it, and Mr. Miyagi we've never seen him get jealous or salty about anything. He got salty about that. He's like, "Oh, beginner's luck," walked away.
That was funny.
So Mr. Miyagi up to this point has had him going wax on, wax off on the cars. Now he's having him paint
the sanding.
Then he had him do the sanding. Now he's having him paint the fence, go up and down, all the stuff to kind of teach him.
In the house.
Yeah, and even though Daniel's getting upset about basically just doing chores when he's supposed to be learning karate, Mr. Miyagi was teaching him muscle memory.
Yeah. Well, I also think really when he was like karate is a way of life, and it was really trying to implement that it literally is in things that you do as well.
Yeah, and Daniel's getting upset, and I mean the techniques that Mr. Miyagi has Daniel doing with the chores and stuff like that, it's a wonder how Daniel doesn't realize what Mr. Miyagi's doing. He's being very specific. He's like, "Oh, bend the wrist when you do this, and make sure you go in the circle." It's like
maybe he just thought he was being picky about how he did it.
Maybe, I guess, but they're leaning very heavy into the unique way of teaching, and the next thing that Daniel kind of throws a little temper tantrum, and he's like, "Oh, you're not teaching me anything. I'm gonna go home." And then finally, Mr. Miyagi is like, "Oh, wax on, wax off," and Daniel does the motion, and Mr. Miyagi starts throwing punches, and it shows the muscle memory, and Daniel gets it, but he's not quite done. Now he needs to learn balance. Even though he wants to punch, he's got to learn balance.
Yeah.
And
something I wanted to point out is this is before we find out why, but Mr. Miyagi, he seems very, not broken, he's still active, but his life is very empty. And I thought that it was sweet to see Daniel kind of
bring him out of that.
They both
needed somebody.
Each other. Yeah, they both needed that son figure, that father figure.
Yeah. So Daniel now needs to learn balance. So Mr. Miyagi takes him to the beach where he's got to kind of find balance fighting these gigantic waves.
Literally, I don't know how. I mean, he's
10-foot really waves. But... Probably. They were huge, but
yeah, he was really getting engulfed.
Yeah, while Daniel's playing in the ocean, he sees Mr. Miyagi doing the kick. The famous kick. Yeah.
He called it something, crane pose.
Something like that. You take one leg up and then you jump and you kick with the other leg and stuff like that. So
the kick.
They leave the beach and there's these guys standing at Mr. Miyagi's car and they all got their beer bottles. They both have their beer bottles sitting, and Mr. Miyagi's like, "All right, we're leaving. Can you take them off?" And he's like, "Well, you do it yourself." And then he makes a face just mocking Mr. Miyagi for being Asian.
Yeah, he's literally racist.
And I'm like, I'm like, why is everybody in this town awful? You got bullies and you got these freaking racists over here.
Just drinking on someone's brain. Who just...
Who does that? Who thinks to do that? That you have to.
Oh, this is a nice. This is a nice car. We're just gonna chill here and drink a little.
Yeah. So they're like, "Oh, you take them off yourself," and Mr. Miyagi karate chops them.
And then
cuts them all off. And Daniel's like, "How did you do that?" He goes, "I don't know. First time I've ever done
I
it.
just did it.
So
That's how top tier Mr. Miyagi is.
yeah. So then they go to this little pond. Mr. Miyagi's fishing in this canoe, and he's having Daniel balance on the canoe without falling. And Mr. Miyagi's method of teaching is just it's genius. It's genius. It's like
It's nice because he basically tells him to do something, kind of leaves him to do it, and then when he really does need the help or like he'll say something. But for the most part, he's just doing his own thing while letting Daniel figure it out.
Yeah. So as
He shoves him in the water.
Yeah. Then he like tips the boat and shoves.
He thought that was the funniest.
Yeah,
thing
Mr.
in the
Miyagi,
world.
he's so funny. He's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
But so then after this, Daniel's finally getting around to figuring stuff out, and he goes to go. I guess they were going to go on a date. He goes to like that little party.
Yeah, they were going out.
And Allie's at this little party thing with her family, and then Johnny's family's also
I guess it's
there.
a rich people party.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's the get together where they eat the celery and ranch.
Yeah, the monthly rich people. Gathering.
Where they all go like
listen to orchestras.
Yeah. Johnny's there, and he kind of forces himself to have a dance, or forces her to have a dance with him, and Daniel like walks through this kitchen because he's like, "Where's Allie?" He's like,
in the back. I guess.
He walks through the back through this kitchen, which this is actually kind of funny. I'm writing this part down. I said, I see a lot of clean and empty kitchenware in this kitchen and no food. And as I'm writing that down, Daniel sees Johnny and Allie, and Johnny sees him, so he like forces a kiss upon her. And Daniel gets upset thinking that she wanted that. And he turns around and just immediately gets covered in pasta. And I wrote, a lot of clean, empty kitchenware in this kitchen, but no food. Never mind, Daniel's covered in pasta.
Yeah, when she slaps Johnny and her mom, it's like, she literally mouths, if you watch it, she's like, "Johnny, are you okay?" And she, looks really shocked. And I'm like, did you not watch your daughter literally just get,
sexually assaulted?
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, so Daniel leaves this party. He's upset, and then he goes to Mr. Miyagi, who's also upset. Sorry about the little break. We had a bit of a technical difficulty, but we are back in it. And as I was saying, so Daniel leaves this party, that he sees Johnny and Allie kissing. He gets upset, and he goes to Mr. Miyagi, who is also upset and drunk. And the scene's actually kind of sad. It's very sad. Mr. Miyagi is in his old military outfit, and he's not in his right mind, and he's showing Daniel these pictures of his wife, and Daniel's like, "Oh, I didn't know you had a wife. Where is she?" And then Mr. Miyagi walks to the bedroom and basically just passes out.
Yeah.
And
he reenacts I don't know if you heard him, but he was imitating an officer, and then he was like, "Mr. Miyagi," and he was like, "Yes," and he's like, "We regret to inform you," and then he just kind of would trail off. Mm-hmm. And so he was reenacting the moment he found out. Yeah.
So he passes out, and after he passes out, Daniel is kind of looking through his things, not going through drawers or anything, but he just kind of sees out to the side a bunch of stuff, and he sees that Mr. Miyagi has a letter in his hand, and he takes it and he reads it, and it's a letter that says "Mr. Miyagi, we regret to inform you that your wife and your unborn child have died due to complications to childbirth."
Yeah.
So it's a very sad moment, and it's just
both moments in both the movies, the reboot or whatever.
Yeah.
That one was really bad too. In a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really emotional. That was sad.
Yeah, we actually get a shot of Mr. Miyagi's medal, the one that Hawk stole in the show.
I love a menace.
So we got the first shot of that, and then after that, we get another amazing camera shot, another good cinematography.
Yeah.
Whenever he's training, doing the punches, he's
with the glare and everything.
Yeah, he starts doing the rock, not Rocky. Muhammad Ali thing with the legs. uh, and Mr. Miyagi's like, I think you're not focused. You got to focus. You got to keep going. And then we go back to the dojo. It's his birthday, Daniel's birthday. Mr. Miyagi gives him a birthday cake and stuff like that. And he's like, I got you a present. And then he gives him the present, and it's a gi. It's the Miyagi Do gi with with the orange and
The
the bonsai tree, and it's beautiful. It's a great.
I love the logo.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then he's like, he says something like, "Oh, it's a shame your mom couldn't be here." And Daniel's like, "Oh crap, my mom! She was gonna bake me a cake, and it was a surprise. I wasn't supposed to know. I gotta leave." Makes me eyes like, "Before you leave, I got a surprise for you." Takes him outside, and he lets him pick one of his 4 like antique cars.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's such a
We
wholesome.
knew which one because of Cobra Kai, but
Yeah,
um,
it's a.
that's another like father figure moment. Like he gives him his first car after getting his license, and
Yeah.
really cute.
You were wondering where the dad was. He's right here.
Yeah, sorry, I missed
Yeah.
that.
He's Mr. Miyagi. He's literally the best, most wholesome man there is, and
Well, because he was missing his son, and then
yeah,
he's probably, I mean, who knows where his dad is, but
yeah. So we get a little clip, and Mr. Miyagi's giving him like some advice and stuff like that, and then Daniel drives away to go meet with his mom. But plot twist, he's not meeting his mom. He went to the arcade again to find Allie.
I don't know why he lied to him about that.
That's what I wrote, and they don't ever mention it again. He just goes to the.
Like we thought he was telling the truth, and we were both genuinely confused. We were like, wait, we thought he was going to see his mom. Like we didn't even think about why, because why would he hide it?
Yeah, he never really does go to his mom, but he goes to. He finds Allie at the arcade that he took her on a date to, and she's mad at him.
That was so annoying. Like her friends are annoying. I get that they're trying to stand up for her, but like from his perspective, he literally saw them kissing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also, they did kiss after Johnny made eye contact with him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of both. Like, well, it's not her fault at all that happened, but like he probably should have known. Like he looked at me and smiled before he kissed her. Maybe she didn't want that to happen.
Yeah, but
I don't know why
she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that he saw that. So even no matter what, he saw them kissing, and I feel like he does have a right to be upset about that. And I don't know why she's angry at him.
She's like literally mad.
Like genuinely.
And like wants an apology. I'm like, for what? That he saw you guys kiss?
Yeah.
And didn't see the aftermath?
Yeah, and she kind of walks away, and one of her friends is like, Daniel, you didn't even stay for the whole thing. You weren't there. She punched him, and he's like, oh, really? And then he goes outside, finds her, and he's like, hey, I know you punched him. Sorry. And she's like, it's okay. And they like kiss.
Okay, let's get back to like they kiss.
No, they don't. They eat each other's face.
Like I was like, this is like nobody kisses like that.
It was a.
I thought they were like they like unhinged their jaws.
It was crazy.
It was like snakes kissing. Cobra Kai.
And one thing I wrote about this whole entire situation right here is that both Cobra Kai the show and this movie, and I'm gonna assume the other 2 movies as well, they're all synonymous of being stories about having the worst communication.
It's really frustrating. Like
talk.
Yeah, like literally that's like something in Cobra Kai that like I noticed immediately. I was like, guys, if you literally just like sat down and were like, hey, what happened? None of this would be happening. Like everything would be okay. Why don't people just sit down and talk anymore about their issues?
I have no idea.
Well, it's also like Cobra Kai is meant to be overly dramatic because it's supposed to be kind of parodying that like cheesy 80s style of movie, but come on.
Yeah, but so after all this, he's like, oh yeah, the tournament's tomorrow, and then it cuts to them going to the tournament, and it starts like fast. Like we get into the tournament, and it just starts, and we get like I don't know if you noticed it, but we got a jump scare during one of the fights. Freddy was front row. Did you see him?
No, I did not.
I saw him, and I wrote down Freddy jump scare. I was like, yeah, no, I think it's a little like the first fight, or maybe I think it was the first fight that Daniel had with Cobra Kai.
He's actually there just to make sure Johnny beat him up.
Yeah. So we get to see clips of both Daniel and Johnny fighting different people.
And Cobra Kai.
Yeah, and different people from Cobra Kai, like Johnny's friends and stuff like that. And Johnny's fast. Like, he's fast. And the
He's
choreography...
on a pure adrenaline during
Yeah.
this whole scene.
And the choreography in this movie is actually really good.
Yeah, the fighting's really cool.
Yeah. Speaking of, like, he and his friends are, like, energetic, I said, is this movie about karate, or is Cobra Kai just actually just doing drugs? Like, 'cause
It's
they're
a
like,
secret operation.
they're like at one point, I think it cuts to, like, one of Johnny's friends, like, his like, eyes are, like, all red, and his, like, super white, and he's like, yeah! Like that.
Like, literally, the producers were probably, like, literally, like, just hyping him up so, like, bad. They were crazy.
Yeah.
So is Kreese.
Yeah, I was about to say, speaking of crazy, it's fine. It gets down to I think the finals, and one of Johnny's friends is about to go up against Daniel, and Kreese is like, "Yeah, take him out of commission. Hurt him so badly he can't do it." And we finally get to see one of the Cobra Kai students. They're like, "I don't want to do that."
Like they're so for it until he starts getting a little too far.
Well, they're all beating up on the kid, but like causing permanent damage is where they draw the line.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, they all follow Kreese until he's like, I wrote down, I was like, what is Kreese's motive? Like, why is he so intense? I mean, we kind of get that in Cobra Kai, but
Yeah.
why is he, like, in this movie, like, we don't know why he's so intense, why he's, like, literally out to get everyone.
Yeah. So the Cobra Kai student and Daniel, they fight, and he like injures Daniel's knee, or his knee.
He, like, hits the back of his knee, yeah.
Yeah, it's like very hard, and it really does hurt Daniel. He like falls down to the ground, and the Cobra Kai kid like gets right up against him, and he's like screaming. I guess he's trying to do it so Kreese can't see him, but he keeps going like, "I'm sorry, Daniel. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." And then they pull
He
him
goes
away.
down with him, and he's like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So Daniel gets rushed.
So at least they have hearts.
Yeah. So Daniel gets rushed to the back. Mr. Miyagi and Allie are there, and they're all talking, and it gets down to just Daniel and Mr. Miyagi. And he earlier in the movie, I forget exactly what happened. Oh, it was with the first fight where he comes down like Spider-Man. Daniel's still hurt, and he rubs his hands together. No, I'm getting it wrong.
No, it was when he was mad about doing all the chores, and he was like, do wax on, wax off. And he's like, I can't even move my arm.
Yeah, so
And
Mr.
he's
Miyagi
like, all right,
rubs his hands,
fix it.
and then puts it, and I'm not sure what he did, but he rubs his hands really fast, and he puts his hand on the wherever he was hurt, and Daniel was feeling better. So Daniel's like, I want to keep fighting. Mr. Miyagi's like, you've proven everything you need to prove. He goes, no, not really, because if I back out now, I'll always see them, and I'll always think of how I failed in this moment.
Well, he said they'll always see me and know that they got the best of me.
Yeah. So he goes, just do the thing. So Mr. Miyagi does the magic hands. He rubs them together.
And then it cuts.
Yeah. He doesn't actually, we don't get to see him do it, but he does it, and Daniel limps out. And
sorry.
What were you going to say?
I wrote something, because I don't know if this was intentional or not. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm going to reference, like, what he does. Is that okay?
Yeah, I was getting to that.
So, okay.
Yeah, well, okay. So he goes back out, and he says he's still going to fight. So it's down to the final two. It's Johnny versus Daniel. And Kreese is like, you know, destroy him. Take out the knee.
Yeah, yeah.
So what were you going to say?
So as I watched Daniel, like, limp out, I thought about this. Remember I, like, gasped, and then I started writing?
Mm-hmm.
The crane pose.
Oh, yeah.
When Mr. Miyagi was doing it, and he was like, teach me how to do that, he's like, I'll teach it to you when you learn about balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's funny that he's able to do it when he literally only has one leg working.
Yeah.
And
it's good, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure that was intentional.
Yeah.
I just think it was like
symbolism.
It was cool that he could, yeah.
So
I liked that.
Johnny, like, Daniel goes to kick Johnny at one point. Johnny catches his leg and takes an elbow to the leg, to Daniel's leg. Hurts it even more. Daniel raises that leg and then does like the crane pose, and then does the famous Karate Kid kick and wins. And everybody's cheering. We get to see Johnny hands Daniel
the trophy.
Also,
sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but I'm trying to get these points in. Before he does the crane pose, as they're fighting, he does Mr. Miyagi's move to Johnny. The one that he did when he was doing the punching, and then Mr. Miyagi took him
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Like that. He did it to Johnny, too.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a cool detail.
Yeah.
Anyways, you were saying?
But, so Johnny gives him the trophy, and then we get a little cut to Mr. Miyagi. We see Mr. Miyagi smiling, and then it freeze frames, and then it's over.
No.
It was like, I was like, that's it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't know what they would do after that, but it was a good movie.
It was actually a really good movie, and I'm excited to watch the other ones. I'm not sure if I'll cover them on the podcast, but chances are I might. So stay tuned for that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've enjoyed making this. This has been fun.
It was fun.
It was pretty fun. I'm not sure what the next movie is going to be. Maybe I think we might be taking a turn. Might be watching Jaws. I'm not sure. I want to start doing more recent movies too, diving into some of the stuff that I like. So maybe I was thinking at some point maybe doing Deadpool and Wolverine. So we'll see. But yeah.
What I was gonna say in conclusion, pretty much, this movie, I think, is a good movie about some very important life lessons. It's just a wholesome movie. Like, you just feel good watching it. And something I wanted to mention to Cobra Kai that's, like, I think is kind of sad is, like, because before Johnny shows back up in Daniel's life, Daniel's pretty happy.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit too cocky, but but then he, like, absolutely becomes, like, obsessive about all of this, and I'm sure, like, not having Mr. Miyagi was part of it. But the show is also good at, like, teaching the same lessons, and
Yeah.
I just think it's a good story about two people who really needed each other in each other's lives. And
even the show, like, in its own way, teaches balance, but like life balance. Like, spoilers for the new season of Cobra Kai. Like, Tori's mom dies.
yeah,
And she's upset, and they're trying to figure out who's going to be the team captains for like this world tournament. So it's supposed to be Daniel's daughter Sam versus Tori, and nobody knows where she's at. Her mom literally just died. She goes straight from the hospital where she was pronounced dead to fight Sam because it's them two to. They're like the ones that could possibly be the team captain.
it's a female captain, yeah.
Yeah, for a female captain. And she's like going crazy, very emotional. She's kind of fighting dirty. And Sam's mom, Daniel's wife, gets a call saying, "Hey, Tori's mom just died." So she tells Daniel to try to stop the fight. Daniel tries to stop the fight, and Johnny, who is also now working with Daniel at Miyagi-Do, is saying, "Let them keep fighting." But he ends up stopping the fight, and Tori gets upset. She's like, "You guys don't understand," and she leaves. And it gets to the end.
The episode, yeah.
Well, it gets to the end, and Daniel and Johnny are in the dojo by themselves, and Daniel's like, "Why wouldn't you just stop the fight? Like, I don't understand. Why would you let us do this?" And he goes, "Because she was working through it." He's like, "I was letting them fight because I was at that point once, and fighting helped me keep going. Not everybody's about peace and all this stuff. Some people need to release it like this."
It's a complicated situation, because also, like, if you saw your daughter getting beat up pretty bad,
yeah,
would you want to let it keep happening and, like, her to possibly get really injured just because?
I mean, like, I get it, but at the same time, the one thing right after that, whenever he says it, Daniel gets frustrated at Johnny and punches him, and for the first time, Johnny doesn't do anything. He just takes it and he goes, "We're working together for now, but once this tournament is over, I'm out." And then he walks away.
It's so sad. Like, I just want him to get along.
Well, we got 10 more episodes. I'm sure that's going to happen. But anyways.
In a movie.
Yeah. Anyways, this movie is really good. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's definitely worth the time to watch. And, but yeah, stay tuned for more podcast episodes. I'm very thankful that you guys have listened to it. If you've listened this far, I'm extremely grateful. And yeah, go check out the Grim Grinning Host YouTube channel. And I've been Blake.
I'm Caroline.
And you have been listening to The Ticket Booth. See you later.
Thank you.